Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video with your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Persona 5, the Phantom X, or P5X. So, as we know, the beta had closed a couple weeks ago, and now we have some more information and data in regards to what exactly players did and what players chose during that beta. There's a select number of characters and kind of different routes that you can take. A cool thing about some of these JRPGs like this where you have a party is you can switch up your party at any time, mix and match different characters. Some work better here, some work better there. So let's see what people chose when it came to this beta. We also will have some more information in this video as well, talking a little bit about some different things about the beta as well and just the game in general. So Joker, funny enough, was the most popular character when chosen in P5X infiltration test. So it is said that players used up a total of 8,707,955 tokens in exchanges for the character, giving him the highest number of exchanges, which kind of makes sense. He's the leader of the Phantom Thieves, which concludes that around 2,000 something players had chose to exchange to get Joker, which I find to be a little bit interesting, seeing as how he's like a character we've seen like a whole lot, and I feel like some of the other characters have a little bit more to them, and I also just don't know in terms of the beta when you could play as other characters and when you actually got the chance to play as all of them. You know, there's some newer characters. I figured people would probably choose that more, but I didn't get to play the beta. I've just been kind of seeing secondhand what other people have been doing, what they've been playing, so that might explain a little bit of it. Maybe just the nature of the beta kind of pushes Joker forward, at least when it comes to that infiltration test sort of beta there. So we have some more statistics as well. It says that in combat, players have defeated 461,264 shadows, and there had been highlight the final blow attacks, if you guys have ever done that, or like kind of all-out attacks, that 12,310 times that had happened. While traversing mementos, players have collected a total of 32,109,170 mileage cards. I'm not sure if that is just like a measurement way that they're kind of doing that, if there's actual mileage cards or something whenever that happens, but it seems like players had done a whole lot here. I don't think we know the exact total number of people that played during this beta, but it doesn't sound like it was a whole lot. Probably less than 10k, I would say, people got to play this little beta here. It doesn't sound like they let a whole lot of people into this, just seeing from how these numbers are, which I know it sounds like a lot, hitting the millions, but whenever you have like hundreds of thousands of people playing this game, stuff like that's going to be in the billions or perhaps even like trillions after like a month or two, you know what I mean? So there's a whole lot more that could happen whenever we actually get this to that. So the new evil boss that was also shown in this game had changed his heart 924 times. See what I mean? Not even 1,000 times did it actually happen. So that's kind of an interesting thing there to show kind of the scale as to like how many people actually got to play this thing. And within the baseball stadium palace, players were able to open 98,439 treasure chests while exploring. So almost 100,000 people found treasure chests. So that kind of tells me that 1,000 people changed his heart, but over 100,000 treasure chests were open. So that leads us to believe that there are a decent abundance when it comes to the treasure chests, which makes me just think that this palace was probably a pretty big palace and a lot of areas and things to explore within there, so a lot of treasures in there of course as well, but also probably good to keep in mind not everybody probably got to the change of heart, seeing as how limited this was, and some people just don't have all the time in the world to keep playing to get to that point, you know what I mean? But let's move on over to some other things here, not in terms of like palace and stuff like that. Let's talk about the leisure and the part-time work. So I guess you could say this like the day-to-day, daytime sort of gameplay type stuff, less of the battle type stuff. So in addition to exploring the world, people are also able to go to various activities after school. We've seen that with all the Persona games. We kind of already understand that. So it says that players have participated in part-time jobs. There were 8,164 times throughout the beta test that there were, within those 3 days, that there was basically almost 8,000-ish or so people who decided to spend the time after school doing that during one of those 3 days, or possibly multiple times within those 3 days. It's kind of hard to say. 810 players had chose to go fishing, while 172 players challenged in the baseball practice. I kind of wonder if people were able to finish this beta and kind of restart it, if that was something they were allowed to do, or did they just hit a wall and weren't able to pass it? Because some betas and some demos allow you to kind of restart once you reach the end, so I wonder if the calculations here were probably done on your first time, and I assume most people would probably choose to do the part-time job over the fishing, and then finally the baseball stuff being kind of last. I don't know how many people would like want to know more of that. I think I'd probably want to know what the part-time job stuff was, you know, in terms of that game scope, to see what kind of jobs there were. Fishing is something we've already had, and baseball is kind of something we've already had as well, so I'd assume maybe like the part-time jobs will be something that could be a little bit different. I don't know. It just seems to be where players sort of landed on when it came to this, when playing this beta. Like I said, this thing is very limited for what we got. I would love to see another beta, potentially one that gave us a couple more things to do. It looks like this beta was limited to just basically one palace, which I've kind of already known that, but I wanted to wrap this all up in a video here to have as well. But it looks like we had just about one palace, and that palace seemed to be pretty bulky, pretty big. From what we understand from the data mine and leaks and stuff like that, where were other palaces, at least within the game's code, some screenshots and thumbnails, but from what we understand now, we don't exactly know how many of those palaces were just concept ideas, or how many of them were actual real things that were going on. You know, are they going to be something that's implemented later? There was one of those screenshots that had Joker and Morgana in it, in a palace, so that seems to be something that was probably more developed than others. But again, still, even if that is the case, sometimes that might just mean it was just a placeholder thing for something later, or a scrapped idea. At least from what we understand, there is at least one palace that is completely done. Seeing as how people were able to do that, there are probably some tweaks and stuff, but by now we can assume there's probably one done, and we know that there are others being worked on. So again, it's a beta. It's still kind of hard to say where this is going to be. Typically, like a beta like this, I wouldn't be trying to judge how much content is in it, but seeing as how this is going to be a mobile game, and mobile games infamously have like a lack of content because they're trying to make a roadmap for you to constantly play over the next couple of years, it looks like this one palace has, you know, a decent amount done for it already, and over 100,000 chests were found throughout playing through it, so it seems pretty long. Kind of surprised by that, seeing as how there's only like 2,000 something people who even really did a whole lot. It seems like, you know, people who actually picked characters and played through the thing, and there was only about 1,000 of people who actually finished the palace. So only 1,000 people have really played through the entire thing of the demo, so that's kind of interesting to see. And the numbers show a lot of things happening for just those small numbers. So there's a lot of content here already, which is nice. I mean, that's glad to see. That's what we want to see. I don't want there to be 1 or 2 palaces and then it's like, see you again in 3 months when we have another one done and you have to dump another $10. That's, I think, what people are trying to steer clear of. But I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know if any of these numbers meant anything to you. Maybe not. It's still a lot of speculation. I'll keep you guys updated. They've talked about the Japanese dub happening soon. The Chinese dub is, of course, being done, and they said after the Japanese one is done, they're going to be looking into other languages and getting those finished as well. So we might be able to potentially you know, have some news in regards to if they've actually started doing dubbing and anything else. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. Anything else regarding the Phantom X stuff, and also the Shin Megami Tensei 30th anniversary stuff this year, I'll also keep you guys updated on that as well. It looks like things are starting to kick off with that. But as always, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching.